The 2025 trade deadline is here. I'm so excited. I can't even talk. And we're discussing the trades the Halos made, the trades they didn't make, plus which trades around the league are going to impact the Halos. It's time to get locked on with Gavin and Jon. And this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of Trade Deadline Day. My name is Jon Frisch. I'm one half of the Super Halo Bros. With me is the busiest man in podcasting. That's Gavin Carlson, who takes care of the Locked On Angels Postcast with us. We appreciate you being here. Listen, we're doing a live show right now, but if you happen to be catching this on Friday morning on the audio side or the video side, we appreciate you being here as well. If you want to help us out, leave us a rate, review, hit that subscribe button while you're here. 203 in the house, baby. Let's go. If you're not subscribed already, jump on down, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to get in touch with all three of us, including Mike, and be part of the conversation. This episode's brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. Again, I'm Jon Frisch. With me is Gavin Carlson of the Locked On Angels Postcast. We talk Angels baseball every single weekday, right? And then Gavin's there after every single game doing a great job on the postcast. And Gavin, we're live for the trade deadline, my friend. How you feeling right now?
I'm mixed. I'm a little confused. I mean,
we all are.
Just like last year, Angels waiting until the final moments to show a pulse, and now I'm scared. Right when I'm like, okay, I'm going to grade the deadline and see, what happened. I'm scared that something's going to happen in the last 10 minutes here. So on the edge of my seat, which I did not expect to say about 10 minutes ago, but we'll jump right into talking about why.
You know what? I knew that it was going to come right down to the end of when the buzzer. It was a buzzer beater, and because that's what they've done. Literally the last 4 years. I think the Marsh trade, the Syndergaard trade, those happened right at the buzzer beater. And so here we are talking about what the Halos have done and what they haven't done. We got to start off with this trade. Oswald Peraza from the Yankees is coming over to the Angels. And, I spent all morning prepping our show to stuff that we could talk about. And, of course, I have nothing on Oswald Peraza other than he's the reason why the Yankees traded for Ryan McMahon, because his defense over at third base was absolutely terrible. So that's something to take into consideration. But here's something that we have here from Jeff Fletcher of the OC Register. Peraza was once a top prospect, hasn't done well in the majors early in his career. He's under control for 4 more years after this. It gives them an infield option since Rengifo and Moncada will be gone next year or in the next 18 minutes. That's what Jeff said 9 minutes ago. But who they're giving back is Wilberson DePena, international, and some international bonus pool money for Oswald Peraza. So we've got this new guy, plays the infield. I don't think that we can ever have enough infield help. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a low risk, probably low reward, but maybe high reward type of move, which again, I know you were aligned with me in terms of thinking there's no way this team is going to buy at the deadline and think they're making a push and anything like that. And so if you are going to go acquire somebody, I like that it's a 25-year-old. Seems like we do love the former top prospect build. Kind of feels like a Yoan Moncada type of, hey, he hasn't done anything. And I mean, obviously not because of injuries for him as much as just the guy's hitting 152 on the season. But I mean, when the options in the infield are a Kingery or a Newman or a struggling at times Rengifo, an injured right now Christian Moore, like you said, you can't have too many infielders. Hopefully when he comes to Anaheim, he's not, falling victim to the things that seem to hurt our other infielders, suddenly forgetting how to play baseball in the field, base running errors. But the low average, it doesn't excite me. Who knows? We'll see. It's a low risk move for sure.
Yeah, certainly low risk. The first year that he was in the bigs, 2022, only got into 18 games, had a pretty good slash line of 306, 404, 429 slugging, 832 OPS. That's very small sample size. Since then, he's gotten into 52 in 2023, didn't hit a lick, under 200. This year, he's 152 with an OPS of 452. And again, they were using him over at third base, and he was not great. And so if there's something to be done here, it's the fact that the Angels are going to have to try to make something out of this 25-year-old. And look, this is the kind of deal that you and I and Mike have all kind of talked about, where you get somebody with a few years of control that is going to help this team out next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. So at this point, Oswald Peraza coming over to the Angels, who knows if he'll even be in the majors, right? And I think that, let me look up his game logs here and just see. He's been with the team. He played yesterday and maybe even today. So we'll see. But the fact is that not the most exciting big trade, but it certainly is somebody that you have years of control with after this year. So very, very interesting stuff for Oswald Peraza.
Yeah, he's been with the team, but I mean, you would hardly know, right? In the last 30 games, the guy's got 7 hits. I mean, so it's one of those things where it's like he's been with the team, but has he even added to the team? And no. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. It doesn't really align with what you did yesterday. That's the other thing that I'm sure we'll get into plenty is, yes, it adds some depth, and sure, the moves yesterday added some depth, but just with everything going on in the league and in our division alone, it's like, why are you even acquiring guys if it's not going to help you even remotely stay at pace with everything else that happened in the division? I don't know. I'm sure we'll get into all of the big picture rants later on in the stream too, once it officially hits 3 p.m. and everything, but definitely a head scratcher. I mean, he hasn't done much for sure. I mean, I don't know.
Somebody said, let's sign Gavin Carlson.
Yeah,
we've already signed him to Locked On Angels.
There you go. I love it.
Let's go. So listen, there's some questions in here about Oswald Peraza having options. He's out of options, my friends. So he's going to have to stick around this major league club. So, the Angels love to have guys that they can't move and can't bring up and bring down. So I imagine Scott Kingery will be the guy that gets sent down in order to make room for Oswald Peraza. In fact, if Oswald, he's going to have to be on the 26-man roster and part of the 40-man roster. So I wonder if there will be possibly a DFA of Kingery, because you have to make room on that 40-man roster. So very interesting at that. Let's get into what we had planned. First of all, we picked up those 2 relievers on Wednesday. Andrew Chafin, somebody I wanted 3 years ago, not necessarily 3 days ago, right? However, having him in this bullpen as a lefty option, he's been very, very good against lefties. So we'll see what they're going to do there. Luis García comes back, of course, has not had a great start to this season, looked great with the Nationals over that tenure. But he had probably his best run in a little while in his second tenure with the Angels, which was last year. So 2 veteran relievers for the bullpen that the Angels really need. But it also led to some speculation, Gavin, of, would the Angels trade someone out of the pen like Jansen or Reed Detmers? Because are Andrew Chafin and just Luis García, are they just bodies to get the Angels through the rest of the season? What do you say?
Yeah, it feels like, hey, we have warm bodies in the bullpen, maybe something we haven't had for quite a while recently. But yeah, I mean, when it happened yesterday, you're sitting there scratching your head when it first comes in. You're like, we're acquiring guys in their late 30s when everyone that's, competent on our team is in their 20s. Obviously, we're not planning for this year. And I was very hopeful. Maybe it was some hopium, like we've said on the show before, of, hey, it means we're trading a Kenley. And so we're going to get some prospects back for him. We do need warm bodies in the bullpen while he's gone. But when we see what happened, or we should say didn't happen today, it kind of just confirms that the thought process with Perry, with Artie, with this team is, hey, we're just a couple, holes in the bullpen away from being a competent baseball team. And I just don't agree. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how you can go I get it. The bullpen has been awful. Again, a day like yesterday where you collapse proves you need some arms there. But how do you, care enough about this year to go get bullpen arms? We don't have a 5th starter, John. Like, we don't have a 5th starter. So it's like, I mean, unless we're really locked in on these bullpen games, and we just need even more bullpen arms to help out with that, I just don't know how you can make those moves when I think an even bigger hole than the end of the bullpen is that 5th rotation spot.
But do you actually think that Perry and Artie think this team is competitive? Like, legitimately? Like, do you think they think this team is competitive?
I always say it's always a real bad situation for any franchise in any sport when you've got a GM who doesn't know how long he's going to be there, right? On a with a franchise that probably shouldn't be targeting the immediate, right? It's like he's feeling pressure to get something done to keep this team competitive while he's still there because he doesn't know if he's going to be with the Angels in 3-4 years.
Right.
But this team shouldn't be planning for this year or maybe even for next year, right? So it just doesn't align. Who knows what they think? Who knows, right? But the moral of the story is, again, if you told me that the Angels were only going to acquire people in this deadline and the rest of the league did nothing, let alone our division, I know, right? I would say, okay, it's still not enough to think this Angels team is a playoff team if no one in the league did anything except for us. But we can't ignore that the Astros are acquiring everybody. The Mariners are acquiring everybody. The Rangers just got 2 guys in the last 30 minutes, right? It's like everyone is getting better than we are, and yet we're still trying to get better. Even the A's sold, and I thought they had one of the best deadlines of this whole league because of the guys they got. So I think of everyone in the division, we did the worst, and I don't know what the heck Artie and Perry are thinking, to be honest.
We got some breaking news. Danny Calapi says Phil Maton to the Rangers. So there you go. Another
Per Danny.
arm.
He broke it.
Yeah, there you go. Danny on the spot right there. I love that. So the reason I bring that up, Gavin, just about do you believe that these guys think that they're competitive? I know the team does, but like Mike and I were talking about this morning on our regular Thursday episode, they have put this team in a position where they're going to have to do good. They're going to have to win in August. They're going to have to win in September. And the thing is like the guys on the team, we know what they are. We know that this is, as currently built, a 500 team. Now, is Zach Neto a 500 player? No. Is Nolan Shonowell a 500 player? No. But it's everybody collectively that you put together. Do Andrew Chafin and Luis Garcia make this bullpen better? Absolutely, right? They have the experience. We'll probably see Sam Bachman sent down so they can make room for him. But I say all that because at this point, what you've convinced yourselves of, the Angels front office, is now you got to play meaningful baseball. Now these games matter. Now these games count. Whether you like it or not, whether we as fans like it or not, these are games that matter. And so you better not go out there against this White Sox team who've been playing pretty good lately and not blow it this weekend and then go on a 7-game losing streak because it's going to be a repeat of 2023 if they do that.
Yeah, it again, you would just at least like to have any indication that the team has a plan, right? A plan of any sort. And again, when we're seeing 2 bullpen games in back-to-back series, and then the solution is recalling up, oh wow, Camilo Duvall to the Yankees at the buzzer. That's a crazy one. Wow, interesting. And gosh, the return that people are getting for bullpen arms, we'll see what the Giants get back. But when you look at the return that bullpen arms are getting, and you're just sitting there thinking, man, what we could have gotten for a Kenley, like 800-year-old Kenley, and we would have turned it into something. But again, back to the lack of a plan. You've got 2 bullpen games in back-to-back series. You don't have a 5th starter. Your immediate solution is call back up Jack Kohanowitz. So you don't have a plan in your rotation. Your bullpen's plan is just to stop and plug guys for 3 months, right? It just feels like there's no plan. And that's the biggest thing. We could disagree if they went all in and bought, but at least if they had a clear plan that they're going all in, I would disagree with it, but it would look like something. It just feels like we don't know what the heck we're doing. And in a league and in a division where everyone seems like they really know what they're doing, it's just frustrating that we are the only team. It really feels like we're one of the only teams that just doesn't know what we're doing. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Michael Huntley, Angels are the 4th best team in their own division. Every other team got better. Makes 0 sense not to sell. Xavier Woods from WWE of the New Day. He said, first time seeing a fan base mad at their team for not quitting. Xavier, I hear you. The thing is, we know who this team is as they stand. We have over 100 games of who they are. It's a 500 team, and 500 isn't going to get them to the playoffs. Now, is there a chance that they could go off in August and September? Absolutely. Is there a chance that they could go off according to the players? Absolutely. But we've heard time and time again from O'Hoppe and Trout and Taylor Ward, and Kenley Jansen. We believe in this team, and that's all well and good. But until they're able to display that, it's really hard to buy in as a fan base. So I don't think that people are mad at their team for not quitting. We want to set up for the years to come. We want to we look around the league and we see some of the returns that are happening right now in terms of teams that are selling. And man, there's some really good stuff out there. Like, let's take, for example, Kenley Jansen. Now, the Angels didn't trade him as of right now, but let's look at some of the moves around the league the Angels could have made with Kenley Jansen. So the Padres got Mason Miller of the A's. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. The Tigers went and got Paul Sewald of the Guardians. Not as good as he used to be, but just a reinforcement. They also got Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals. The Cubs got Andrew Kittredge from the Orioles. Red Sox got Steven Matz from the Cardinals. Seattle got Caleb Ferguson from the Pirates. And then this one, I want us to all kind of pay attention to. The Mets got Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals. They also got Tyler Rogers from the Giants, and they got Gregory Soto from the Orioles, and they have Edwin Diaz in their bullpen as their closer. The Blue Jays got Sir Anthony Dominguez. Camilo Duvall, as we just found out, went from the Yankees, or to the Yankees from the Giants. And then Philly's got Yohan Duran. So that's a lot of high leverage relievers moving around the league, all of different skill sets. But to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gavin, but I think that the Kenley Jansen potential trade would have looked like the Ryan Helsley trade, because they have very similar numbers this season. Helsley has a 3 ERA, 21 saves. Kenley has a 2.93 ERA with 20 saves. And Helsley netted the Cardinals 3 players. Jesus Baez, he's a shortstop. He was the Mets' number 8 prospect and a top 100 prospect. They got Nate Dome. He's a pitcher. He was their 14th prospect in the Mets system, according to MLB Pipeline. And then Frank Elisalt, he's a pitcher. He was unranked. So kind of a little extra incentive there. So that's a pretty nice return for someone on the same kind of level as Kenley Jansen. However, these are prospects that the Cardinals have to be patient with because they're all young. They're not going to be in the leagues next year. And isn't that the problem with the Angels, is that they need close to or ready now guys to compete with Logan O'Hoppe, Joe Adell, Zach Neto, all those guys, right?
Yeah, it's the biggest problem that has plagued this franchise forever. And that's why, if you're not willing to make big moves because you don't know what you're doing, you don't have a set direction, buy or sell, then guess what the moves we make are? A ready-made prospect in Oswald Peraza, right? I mean, that's basically like the type of move you make when you want guys that are in their early to mid-20s and are MLB ready. But what's the point? The guy's hitting 152, right? I mean, yeah, just looking at the return that some of these guys are getting. Again, even if the Angels got less than that for a Kenley, right? It's something. It's something. And I know that he has been very vocal that he wants to stay, that he wants to help this team make the playoffs. And again, like you're saying, it's not just him. It's the O'Hoppes, the Trouts. It's everybody. And I love this roster, the guys on it, the characters they have, that they want to compete. But I'm sorry, this is a business. This is the most competitive thing on planet Earth, and you need to make tough decisions. Kenley, for anything, would have been a positive move for this team. Even if Luis Garcia becomes the closer for, the rest of the year, and Chafin helps out, right? You've got Detmers, you've got arms in there. The bullpen is already bad with Kenley, so it can't really get any worse if you get rid of him, right? It's like, it's frustrating. And the question becomes, when we see as the rest of these moves come in, I see Charlie Morton get traded, Griffin Jocks traded. It's like, just the return that these teams are getting, you could have gotten something that would have helped this team. Even if it was an 18-year-old you have to wait on, it would have been something. It would have been something. Yeah. And again, we just don't have a direction.
John in the comment says that the Angels did improve with the 2 relievers. The Angels know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. Their prospects are marinating. Now, that brings up an interesting point, because I think that it's easy to be impatient with the fact that we've got Caden Dana, we've got George Clausen, Sam Aldegheri, and a lot of times people ask, like, why do we have like Tyler Anderson in the rotation? Why do we have Kyle Hendricks in the rotation? And when we talked about this rotation early in the year, I said those guys are there because nobody else is going to touch 180 innings except for Hendricks, Kikuchi, and Tyler Anderson. And we've seen that before, like with Patrick Sandoval, Reed Detmers, Griffin Canning. Now, Griffin Canning was an Iron Man. He wasn't a good Iron Man, but he threw a lot of innings last year, the most in his career. But the reason those older guys are there and they are on expiring deals, the prospects have the chance to stay in AA, stay in AAA. Now, are they being handled correctly down there? Well, that remains to be seen, right? So that's an important part of this conversation. But to John's point, to add those two relievers and let somebody like Bachman go back to work on some stuff, keep things, in the strike zone, as he was unable to do 2 nights ago, or last night's game, I should say. So all of that to say, yes, John, to your point, they have this fact that they added those two relievers to get better, but it really feels like they needed to do more than that to get better. And at the same time, they really could have sold some of their good pieces in order to get better next year and the year after that and the year after that. However, the Angels did get better with those relievers, but that's not good enough, right? Like that's not going to put you over the edge, especially when the Astros and Mariners and Rangers and even the A's selling. Like they're going to be great in a few years. They got the 3rd best prospect in all of baseball, right?
Oh my God, what a move.
So yeah, it's frustrating, but that's kind of where we stand right now. Again, we've got Oswald Peraza. I saw somebody ask, what's the point of the Peraza trade? It's Rengifo again, who's a former top prospect that the Angels have control over. So let that be an indication of the fact that Yohan Moncada is not going to be back next year. Rengifo's not going to be back next year, right? But also, look, I know it's 10 minutes after the deadline. Stuff still happens, people, after the deadline. So maybe we'll get some news here. Sandy Alcantara staying with the Marlins. That's exciting. They've had the best record in baseball over the last, I want to say 2 months, along with the Brewers. Isn't that insane? Like at least a month and a half, or maybe in July. I got to look at that. But the Marlins putting it all together in the middle of the year. Now, obviously they're not going anywhere right now, but kind of fun to see them keep Sandy, and they could try again next year if they need to move him, but he's turned it around as of late, and they didn't sell on him. So very, very interesting stuff there as well. We're going to keep it going here on this live edition of Locked On Angels. Just give us a moment to, pay the bills and do our usual thing. We're going to get into more conversations of what the Angels didn't do, look at some comparable trades, and pay attention to what's going on around the league because it's going to affect our Halos. We'll get into all of that coming right up. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Bring in the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And some days you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized, myself included, as a brand new dad. Especially on the links, if you're into golf, it's about the good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, you can use our promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is valid until September 30th on one order, can't be used with other promotions, and the code is not good on subscription orders. So whether you're meeting with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36 on the golf course, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today at the number 5energy.com today. This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Myself, Jon Frisch, Gavin Carlson here with you at the trade deadline. We got word that Oswald Peraza is coming to the Halos. Again, he's the reason why the Yankees went for Ryan McMahon to upgrade over there at third base, because he's been absolutely dreadful over there at third base. And I would even say maybe worse than Rengifo over there. So that's going to be interesting as well. But that's a trade that the Angels made. Years of control, 25 years old, former top prospect, just has not panned out in Yankee land. So this is really going to depend on if the Angels can make him into something. And you feel like they could, except Wash is no longer there working with these guys. So it's going to be up to Ryan Goins, who is now the bench coach, but still kind of doing some infield stuff. I don't know. That whole situation is a mess, Gavin. So listen, let's get into more conversation here. It's interesting that Taylor Ward was not moved. And I know you've been big on moving Taylor Ward. His value is the highest it's ever been. Teams are always interested in Taylor Ward. But here's the thing. It's that extra year of control that makes the Halos hesitant to move him. And that seems to be the case unless something crazy happens in the next few minutes. But tell us about your thoughts on Taylor Ward probably staying. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, once the trade or trades, or I don't know if they're calling it a single trade or a double trade, by the way, still with the Nationals there. But either way, once that happened yesterday, I kind of threw out any chance that Taylor Ward was getting moved at that point, obviously. I mean, yeah, I've been pretty vocal about it. It's nothing to do with Taylor Ward. I think he's a solid player that I think, again, when you have a player who is more valuable for other teams than yours, that is a clear situation where it's a guy you need to move. And Taylor Ward on so many teams where they need a bat, where they need, where they have a consistent lineup, and maybe he's hitting seventh for them and like is the best 7 hitter in baseball, right? That can have weeks where he's going, playing out of his mind, 8 RBIs in 3 games in New York type of out of his mind, and then have stretches where he struggles. Like I unfortunately think we're probably going to see now that we didn't trade him. He would have been a great fit for a lot of teams that need a guy like that. The Angels don't need that from a veteran. That our young core already gives us that. Joe Adell already gives us that. Logan O'Hoppe already gives us that, right? And so the haul you could have gotten for him, is it what the A's got for Mason Miller? Heck no. But it would have been impressive, right? And it would have just accelerated this rebuild even further. Instead, now you've got Taylor Ward, who's going to give you weeks, again, where he's going to look great. He's going to give you weeks where he's not, and he's going to give you nothing in the field, and he's going to give you nothing on the bases. And you're going to continue to be an average baseball team. So I knew it wasn't going to happen once yesterday happened.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is now you, of course, are going to root for Taylor Ward harder than you've ever rooted for him to suddenly become a consistent stud instead of an inconsistent stud.
Streaky.
But if last year's deadline showed you anything, when I thought we should have traded Tyler Anderson and he kind of fell off the cliff once we didn't trade him, right? Taylor Ward kind of had that to some degree as well. I'm just scared now. I'm really, really scared because every mistake he makes in the field, every strikeout he makes now is going to hurt that much more, knowing that he could have been 3 or 4 promising prospects for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know he's put up some good counting numbers, especially the RBIs, but I also think we have to remember that he's been batting 4th and he's had the most opportunities to drive in some runs there too. So that's really important. I want to go back to a comment here. Nathan said, we need pistachios and Rougiette to cope. I don't know if those two mix well, Nathan. So just be careful what you do out there in the chat. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, here's something that I was looking into. And if the Halos had moved Taylor Ward at this deadline, let's compare this to what the Phillies gave up to get Harrison Bader from the Twins. They sent 2 players to the Twins. Hendry Mendez, he is the Phillies number 12 prospect. He's an outfielder. And then Jeremy Villarreal, who's a pitcher. He's unranked, but he's an international free agent from Venezuela who's going to be 17 next month.
Wow.
And Bader has a $10 million mutual option for next year. So there is a chance to have more control for him. But again, the number 12 prospect in the Philly system, and then an unranked international free agent. Kind of feels like Taylor Ward would have gotten more than what Bader got the Twins back. What do you think, Gav?
Yeah, I mean, it just every time I hear any of these deals, I'm like, if we got a little bit more or a little bit less than that, either way, I would be satisfied. Yeah, Bader, I mean, look, he's an interesting piece, right? He's going to help a team where he doesn't need to be a key player, right? That at the end of the day, that's what it is it's a depth thing for a team that's trying to win a World Series, right? Whereas the Angels have no depth and they don't have a team good enough to win a World Series, right? Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, we're seeing right now, as of a minute ago, the Royals are getting Mike Yastrzemski, a very similar guy, right? A guy that is a veteran.
Wow, that's huge from the Giants. Man, he's like a Giant stalwart, dude. That's crazy. True.
As someone from the Bay who knows plenty of Giants fans, this will be an interesting one for sure. I mean, but just there's a lot of guys like that. Like, is Taylor Ward better than Mike Yastrzemski right now? I certainly think so, right? So we'll see what comes in this trade for the Giants and Royals, but it's just another example of a team getting a guy that's going to add depth that doesn't need to be hitting cleanup. And so Alejandro brings up an interesting point. He says, I think you're overestimating what other teams thought of Taylor Ward. I mean, no, because again, I'm not saying other teams needed him to be a cleanup hitter.
No,
teams would have been okay with Taylor Ward being their seventh hitter, their eighth hitter.
Platooning and facing lefties. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And DHing and not hurting the team in the positions where he struggles, right? So no, I don't, unless the Angels come at it from an angle of he is our cleanup guy, so we need to get cleanup level value back. But if you're operating like that, then you're just delusional, right? I'm sorry. That's just not how things work in the real life that we live in. So again, there's still trades trickling in. It's 3:20 and we just get another trade. So there still might be one or two. Are the Angels going to be one of those teams? I don't think so. But the moral of the story is it's just a couple of days where the Angels tried to get a little bit better. And even if they did get a little bit better, they got a lot less better, improved a lot less than the other teams. I'm just looking at the standings just to remind myself of the pain, right? Look at the four teams that are currently in the wild card spot, right? When you've got the Yankees, of course they're buyers. The Red Sox made a couple moves for pitchers. The Mariners went berserk. That lineup looks disgusting now. The Rangers get multiple bullpen arms. The Royals, they're a couple games ahead of us or a game ahead of us. They just made a move, right?
Right.
The Rays kind of been buy sell combo, which they're a franchise, an organization I trust to do that. I don't trust us to do that. Right. I mean, the Guardians are in a weird spot where, Class A might be banned forever. So they're in a weird spot. They're in a weird spot. But again, you've got a team like the Orioles who they're only 3 games back of us, right? Yeah. And they're a team that was expected to compete at the highest level this year. And they were not afraid to fire sale, right? They were not afraid to do it. The Twins, another team, you get rid of Bader, you get rid of Correa. Guys, it's not like the Twins are 8 games back of the Angels or something. They're in the same spot as us. Yeah. And they are smart enough to know they got to give it up, right? We just talked about the Giants, a very similar team. They just made 3 trades today to get better.
And they're a game over 500.
Exactly, right? Come on, man. And
Cardinals sold.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks sold. Well, Diamondbacks kind of fell out of it, but they, had they not sold or what have you, then they might have had a different situation. But yeah, you're right. Like these teams here, I mean, Cincinnati is still trying to get into it, which is funny. But yeah, Cardinals, Giants, they're selling and they're got better standings than we do. And they're not that far behind San Diego. Yeah. The Giants are 4 games back against a team in their own division, while the Angels are 4.5 back with a much worse record. And I think that speaks to the fragility of the American League, Gavin, where it's like next week the Red Sox could lose 10 in a row, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to hate on the Red Sox, but they've done that this year. And these teams like Tampa Bay went off in the month of June, and now they're 54-54. They were second place behind the Yankees for a while. So just very interesting the way that things shake out. And so that's the problem, Gavin. And I think you're right. It's just like it's a lot of luck and it's a lot of hope and it's not a lot of guaranteed stuff. Real quick, I want to answer Steve G's question. John, can we do a qualifying offer on Rengifo? And then Bradley said, keeping Ward and Rengifo to qualifying offers for possible draft picks. Here's the thing. The qualifying offer, I don't know it off the top of my head for next year, but it's going to be over $20 million. And if you offer Rengifo and Ward $20 million for 1 year, they're going to take it, and you're not going to get those draft picks that they would get if they signed somewhere else. So that's the thing about the qualifying offer, is that it's very, very expensive and much more costly than either Rengifo or Taylor Ward would be. Ward is in arbitration next year, and this year he's making like $8 million. He'll probably make somewhere between 10 and 13. But the value he's putting up this year is actually worth 15 million. It's 2 WAR, right? And 1 WAR is worth $8.5 million. So 17. So he's putting up a $17 million contract right now, which, to us is like, Ward, really? But that's the going rate for somebody like Ward right now. So yeah, Akura Man says Ward is a great value, and that's true. He's a great value. But that also adds to the fact that he would have been a great trade candidate, right? And get you something back significant. But Norman here says, so we're doing the same over and over again, expecting different results. That's called insanity.
Amen.
That's a very good way to put it, Norman. So as we continue here, there's a couple more outfield guys that moved around that we could probably compare to Taylor Ward. Padres traded with Baltimore to get Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano. Laureano is on that expiring deal, but he's gone off the last couple of months. He's the outfield bat that the Padres were looking for, and they got it. And there was a lot of talk. Padres should go after Taylor Ward, get Taylor Ward. Well, we just saw what they gave up for Mason Miller. And like you said earlier, he's not getting a Mason Miller return, but the Padres are willing to do business, man. And they'll trade the prospects that they need to in order to get it done. This one was quite a surprise. Dodgers traded for Alex Call of the Nationals. And it's interesting because he's got 4 years of arbitration, but he's also older. I think he's 30 right now, or maybe 29 going on 30. And the Dodgers gave the Nationals their number 16 prospect, Eric Swan, and number 20 prospect, according to Pipeline, Sean Paul Lignon. So those are 2 guys that went to the Nationals for Alex Call. That's probably, I don't know. I would call it even, because that's something I think Taylor Ward could have gotten back, because Alex Call is having a really great year this year, but he does have more control. Taylor Ward has the more consistent career. You know what you're going to get out of him versus Alex Call. So that's an interesting one. We talked about Rengifo, and we should also talk about Moncada. Ryan McMahon went to the Yankees from the Rockies. Ke'Bryan Hayes, this one actually surprised me. I'm surprised the Pirates gave up Ke'Bryan Hayes to a division rival. And then Ramon Urias to the Astros from the Orioles. Carlos Correa also returns to the Astros from the Twins. And then the big one, Gavin, Eugenio Suarez to the Mariners from the Diamondbacks. Now, obviously, Eugenio was like the top trade chip. Everybody wanted him, right? I think that, pardon me if I'm being biased here, but him going back to the Mariners, I hope he hits like he did on the Mariners a couple of years ago. But obviously he was the big trade chip, but the rest of those guys, McMahon, Hayes, Urias, even Correa, they're kind of glove first guys other than McMahon. He's got 16 home runs. Carlos Correa, he can do damage with a bat. And the problem is Moncada has health issues. He's only swinging from the left side. And then we know Rengifo is more of a utility guy, doesn't play any position particularly well. So I know that it would make sense to sell Rengifo and Moncada, but everybody who went other than those 2, again, McMahon, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Urias, Correa, Suarez, they're all tier 1 for the most part. Well, not all of them, but they're above. They're a tier higher than Rengifo and Moncada, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, any team that would be making an acquisition of either of those guys is a team that's doing similar things to the Angels in terms of acquiring Oswald Peraza, right? Just trying to get a new body that, maybe with a change of scenery can, go against what they've shown in recent memory or something like that. But again, most teams don't do things like that because it just kind of signals hopium. And its fan base can have hopium. An organization, a general manager can't have hopium just acquiring a warm body and seeing if it does something different in a new environment. It is interesting. Shelby Miller
Miller to the Brewers.
It's funny because I'm looking at Twitter and Jeff Passan tweets, "That was fun." 8 minutes ago, and then there's still moves happening after that. So it's like I was literally about to say, Jeff Passan, the Woj of baseball has declared it over. I guess there's not going to be any more trades. And then there's still trades coming in. So I'm really just interested to see what packages come in for these late moves. I do see there's 4 guys headed to the Giants for Camilo Doval. For Jose Caballero, it was Pereira and cash considerations. So the Yankees, couple moves for them. Kind of interesting. We'll see what comes in for Shelby Miller, for Yastrzemski, for Charlie Morton. These late moves. Maybe there's a chance the Angels still do something. No, again, at this point, I'm ruling that out. I missed the Miguel Andujar trade. I know it's not a huge one or anything, but it's funny. You just kind of scroll through and you see moves that happened, and you go, "Oh, other teams are being active while the Angels are, lifeless, unfortunately." But exciting deadline. I mean, it kind of stinks, like you were saying, when you've got teams like the Marlins, right? Teams like the Brewers, where overperforming. When you've got teams like the Orioles, right, and even teams like the Yankees and Giants to some degree underperforming. It was an interesting deadline. You always expect those rental moves to happen, but when you've got a Mason Miller moving, when he's under control for years, right? Mm-hmm. You talk about Brian Hayes going within the division despite multiple years of control. It's a weird deadline. Kind of feels more like an NBA deadline than we've had in years past, where it's not just rentals. There's actual guys that are going to be on teams for 3, 4, 5 years being swapped. Just getting all the analytics and everything aside, it's just another bummer. It's just like all these teams get to have really fun deadlines where big moves are happening. Whether you're an A's fan who you have so many reasons to be depressed, but you just made a massive trade for the future, or a team that's making massive moves for right now, but we're just this confused franchise in the middle that does nothing but bring confusion and pain because we don't know what we're doing. And it's just another friendly reminder that we don't have a direction. And that's what makes it the most frustrating.
I love this. Alejandro says, speaking of holding on to pieces, James Outman, Bobby Miller could have gone for a haul last year. Now they're worth like half that, right? And that's true. Those guys have really fallen off this past season. So that's what happens sometimes, is those pieces that you buy and you try to go after. There's no guarantees, right? And so maybe that's kind of the other side of the coin. Larry S. Says, everyone's slamming GMPM. How do we know his hands aren't tied by Artie? Look, I think we all know his hands are tied.
We do,
by Artie, right? Like, that's not a surprise. That's not anything that we don't already know. And the truth is Artie wants to compete. Artie wants to, bring fans to the games and have them watch and have competitive baseball. He wants that, but he doesn't do enough to actually have that, right? Mike said this morning on the show, they dip their toe in, right? Ooh, is the water cold? I can't tell, instead of cannonballing. And you look at what Seattle's cannonballing, right?
Yeah.
The Astros, they've been good all year, despite all the injuries. They're cannonballing. You look around the league, everybody's cannonballing, and the Angels are not. And to think that they can do something in the remaining 2 months, I think is just really frustrating. And because here's the thing, I want to go back to, I think it was Xavier who was saying, look, the team's not going to quit. They're going to keep trying. And I said, they are a 500 team based on the sample that we have. And here's the thing. They started March and April. That was a bad start, 12-17. May was 14-14. May felt a lot worse than 500. I don't know about you, but that felt a lot worse to me. June, they were 15-11. Remember, they had the 8-game win streak in there, so that really helped them. And then in July, 12-14. So they've only had 1 month above 500, 2 below, and 1 exactly at 500. They've got 27 games in August, 26 in September. That's 53 games left. Do 2 veteran relievers change that? Yeah, they might win, a couple more than they might have if they're running out, Jose Fermin, right? But at the same time, 53 games left. That's not a lot of time. And everybody around you got better. Yeah. And so it goes back to they're not cannonballing. They're not going for it. They have the means, they have the ability to, and maybe not trading all of their prospects. Like, we certainly don't want to do that. But in the offseason, they can do better than Kyle Hendricks. Don't get me wrong. I like Kyle Hendricks. I was uncertain about it when it started, and then I realized, okay, he's going to eat innings and whatnot.
Right.
But you can do way better than that. And the Angels haven't done better than that. And it's really frustrating that they can, but they won't. And I think that goes back to the question of, are GMPM's hands tied? I think so, because Artie doesn't want to go over the luxury tax. I mentioned it on this morning's show. Our buddy JD over at Locked On Cardinals was like, can you imagine paying for Rendon and Nolan Arenado on the Angels? And I'm like, I could imagine it, because they have enough money to do that. But they won't do that. And that's just, that's been the problem, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting, you don't ever want to take responsibility fully out of GMPM's hands, right? And, at the end of the day, he does have a job that he has to perform, and he has to be judged according to what he does, right? I mean, I don't want to say he signed up for this job, but you did, right? So you're going to get some of the criticism for working for Artie Moreno. But even just looking at other teams, right? You look at teams that maybe they don't even have a full direction. I guess Jordan Montgomery is added to this Shelby Miller trade, so that's interesting.
Well, the Diamondbacks will be happy about that. They've been trying to dump him since they signed him.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. But there's teams that bought and sold this deadline, right? Maybe if Artie is tying Perry's hands and saying we cannot fully sell or something like that, then I still think there was an option for Perry to be creative in how we had a neutral deadline, right?
Wait, hold on. This is going to make people happy. Rhett Bollinger, Angels officially announced their one trade today, acquired Oswald Peraza from the Yankees for minor league outfielder Wilberson DePena and international bonus pool money. You ready for this? Kevin Newman was DFA.
Wow.
There you go. Happy trade deadline, everybody. That means they kept Kingery. They held on to Kingery over Kevin Newman.
Which I think in terms of, like, again, it almost adds more confusion, because Newman is like the guy who recently hit a home run and feels a little more like he might help right now, right?
Yeah.
So again, more confusion about what are we going for? And even that, it still kind of goes to what I was saying of, like, even if you're confused about where you're going, there's teams that bought and sold and found a way to do it. You think about the Red Sox, they, in the same couple of months, they traded away Devers, and then yet at the deadline, they're acquiring guys because maybe they just looked at their team and said that Devers contract, adding in all the issues they had, too much to manage right now. Let's turn some of that free money into.
Did Newman just not just take DeGrom deep? Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, Fishy 27. Well said. Yeah, someone's
Newman.
Asking.
Goodbye, Newman. Everyone's.
Goodbye, Newman. Yeah, that's great. Who had? Oh yeah, Chris McCleary said, didn't he have a 2-year deal? I'm gonna look that up right now. Actually,
man,
I think it was an option. Yeah, it was a club option. And if he doesn't get that club option, I think they have to pay him like $250K. So yeah, he had a club option for next year, same price, $2.5 million. No big loss, but yeah, I think if they decline that option, they'll probably have to give him $250K. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, people are in here like, isn't Newman better than Peraza? Oh man, it's interesting. Bradley says the Angels don't really have as much prospect / MLB ready talent flexibility to be buyers and sellers. If anything, that is just more of a reason to sell harder than maybe you should, given the situation you're in, right? Like there's teams that maybe don't have to sell despite being average because they know they still have a future. We have one of the gloomiest, darkest looking futures of anybody. And yet when you have a few guys you can turn into some sort of future, you elect not to do it. So I understand what you're saying. But again, you can't sit in mediocrity forever. Like you just can't do it. That's what the deadline is for in this wonderful sport. Is it's so easy to in one day, in 2 days, completely set yourself up. I mean, think about what the A's did. They traded one of the most valuable guys.
Yeah.
And no one is complaining in that fan base because that infield looks disgusting for the next 5-10 years.
Booney was happy. Booney of Locked On A's, he was pretty happy.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing, Gab. We brought this up this morning. Wasn't this always going to be the way it was? Like as much as you and I and Mike and our everydayers have talked about, like, they should do this, they should do that, they could really set themselves up for this was always going to be the way that it was, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that like we can't speculate on what they should do. And I think we all agree on like what they can do and should do, right? Sell the expiring deals, that sort of thing, get what you can back. But the way that they've been talking all season is that we believe in this team. We're going to compete. We want to do this. We want to do that. Tom Hellman says it's just the Angels being the Angels. And that's how it feels, right? They have made their message clear from day one. And so it's not like the truth wasn't in front of us. You know what I'm saying? And I've been blinded by it. You've been blinded by it. Like, we know what we need them to do. We know what they want, what we want them to do. We know what they should do. But the truth is, it feels like they've been telling us all along, like, yeah, we're not going to do that much. We're going to keep this team together. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. And that's kind of how it feels right now, right?
Yeah. And it's funny too, because this team, like you said, you mentioned the record each month, and it's basically 500 every month.
Yep.
And yet at no point in this season have things felt steady, right? It's always felt like 7-game win streak, 8-game losing streak, great starts. Oh, the Angels are hitting home runs. They're exciting. They don't even have Trout healthy right now. And and Adele's and all. And then it's, oh my gosh, the bullpen is the worst thing we've ever seen. And they don't have a fifth starter. And even their best players strike out 4 times a game. There's never been a level moment with this team. And so it just adds to the confusion. And again, it makes it easy for us, people who have been very steady. Sell. Even we're like, I don't know, maybe you go get Xavier Edwards, like we said 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it was sitting right in front of us all along. This team was never going to fire sale, and we should have just known it from the beginning.
Joey, I'm sorry, I don't want to botch your last name. Joey P. He said, dang, John, that makes too much sense. We knew what was going to happen, just hoping it was going to be different this time. And then Danny says, I feel like we're in a toxic relationship, and somehow we're surprised every time we get lied to or cheated on.
Amen.
What? You cheated again? What?
Amen. I was saying that just for certain players. I've been saying it for a year and a half that we have a toxic relationship with a guy like Taylor Ward, but it really just is the team in general. Every time you're ready to give up on them, even in the last week, then they win 3 in a row.
There goes us says, knowing this team, Oswald's going to be batting fourth. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man.
Now, this is interesting point. Glenn Duke says, scary part is that they don't learn from their mistakes from 2023. Salamander size brain. Can I disagree with that for a second? Just because when they bought at 2023, they bought, right?
True.
Who they've given up for the 3 guys that they've acquired. This is not a buy in a big direction, and it's not a sell in a big direction, right? And so the fact is like, they gave up Edgar Caro and Kai Bush. Like, they gave up a couple of arms that, have had interesting success elsewhere. But the truth is that was a big buy, right? That was going on a Costco run. This is like, I need a few things from the grocery store, right? And it didn't cost you that much. So I think to say like, oh, they didn't learn anything from 2023, I think they have, because at this point, they haven't taken the big swing that they did in 2023. True. And then Bradley makes a good point. They DFA'd 3 out of 4 of those guys they acquired at the deadline. Yeah, because Artie was trying to get them off the payroll and get them picked up elsewhere. And unfortunately, it worked, right? It makes me mad because David says the mighty Lucas Giolito, who stunk for us, had a great outing the other day for the Red Sox. So at least we got to him when we played against him a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, even I'm looking still on Twitter, Jeff Passan saying that I guess I don't know if this just happened or if I missed it, but the Twins included $33 million in cash to help cover the remaining $104 million in the Carlos Correa deal.
Can I tell you why? Like, I was looking at the Carlos Correa deal, and here's the thing. I'm going to pull it up on the screen because it's ridiculous. So
I'm scared.
Let me present here because it's kind of funny. No, not a video. I want to present my screen. Here we go. Yeah, there it is. Okay, here we go. Let me zoom in on this. So he's got 6 years, signed it in 2023. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got these vesting options where if he hits certain metrics the year before, he gets his 25,000, he gets his 20,000, his 15, and his 10.
Mhm.
If he doesn't meet those metrics, then the option converts to a club option if it doesn't vest. So you can see right here, the contract, 2029 vesting option, it kicks in if he gets 575 plate appearances in 2028. And if he does any one of these four things, right? Top 5 in MVP voting, Silver Slugger, and if he's an MVP in the playoffs, right? Same sort of thing all the way down. But at the very least, you have him until 2028.
Right.
And then you have to take a risk with these vesting options. Now, it's a club option, which means that, the Astros, if he doesn't hit his vesting option, they can be like, all right, we're not going to continue with you. And so they have that option at 34. But yeah, the fact that they're sending money over with this trade, looking at this, it makes all the sense in the world because, man, he's owed a lot of money. And if he, the plate appearance thing to me is like, you're kind of risky. That's a little risky business, right?
Yeah.
All you got to do is make that many plate appearances. But
right.
that I think was like an insurance policy against his health. Cause he's been, obviously we know that he's not been, as someone from the Bay Area, the Giants tried to get him and then they went, oh, we don't like those medicals.
Exactly. Yeah. But it just adds to, again, it's like, that might have been a trade where you could make the argument the Astros made a mistake, but it's even less of a potential mistake because now they've got some more insurance with the money coming with them as well. So just another example of a division rival making a move that it just, when it rains, it pours. The news gets worse as every second goes on. Even maybe a questionable trade by a division rival, maybe less questionable now. It's just, it's there's no other way to put it. I mean, at the end of the day, like I tweeted, like, the first thing I did this day is I ran to MLB The Show. I turned on my PlayStation 5. I'm like, I'm going to do this myself. Mm-hmm. I don't want to watch can we not live in reality anymore? Can we go play a video game version of this team and have competent moves? Because, and again, I'm not in any way saying I could be a GM, but at least I would cannonball, like John says. Do one of the two things. Just go all in or go all out. This confusion just adds to the toxic relationship that we have with this darn franchise.
Absolutely. I think the right field revolution and the Angels in the outfield really spoke to something that, hasn't happened. And it's the fact that they got a group of fans together and had such a response. And we talked about how it's like, man, look at how passionate the fan base is when you give them something to be passionate about. Mm-hmm. And here we are under 500 and we're still passionate about this team because we like the guys on the team. And so I think about the fact that, we got some of those sell the team chants through and the Artie sucks chants came through the TV. It's like, okay, this fan base can get it together when they want to. This fan base can do something special when they want to. And so I think about the fact that that was such a success on Wednesday night, and shout out again to John and those guys who put it all together because they really made it happen. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, Akura, man. Angels in the outfield was awesome, like the beginning of the Rally Monkey, and it could be something that keeps coming back. And I jokingly said, nope, you can't do it anymore because they lost last night. But no, that's not fair. You got to keep that up, and you got to continue to do that. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at what some of the other teams in the AL West have done. We'll keep it going here on Locked On Angels live at the trade deadline. So we got to take a look around the league, Gav, and especially in the AL West, because these are the moves that we were talking about earlier where everybody in the West got better. The Angels, not necessarily. Let's start with that A's trading away Mason Miller to the Padres. Go Padres, right? Like they're going for it. So, they got Freddie Fermin too from the Royals. Wow, that's huge. He's been good for the Royals, man.
Yeah,
so wait a minute. Are the Royals selling? They just got Randall Grichuk the other day. Like, I don't understand what they're doing.
Just got Yaz 20 minutes ago, right? But again, that's the point. There's teams that can they can be just as confused, but at least do something while they're confused.
Doing something, yeah. So let's talk about this trade. So Mason Miller, JP Sears out of the American League West. They are now with the Padres, but they got Leo Dallas, DeVries, who is the number 3 prospect in all of baseball, Braden Nett, Henry Baez, and Eduardo Nunez. Let me look up here the A's top prospects, because I believe those guys all fall into it at this point. So yeah, Leo DeVries. That's good. That's easier to say. Braden Nett, was that one of them? Who do we got here?
Let's see.
Braden Nett. He's their 5th prospect. And then Henry Baez, is he on there?
I'm looking.
Henry Baez. He's the 9th prospect in the A system. And then who was the last one?
The 13th, right?
Eduardo Nunez. Let's see. He's 17th per MLB pipeline.
Okay.
So those 4 guys, including Leo DeVries, jump into the A's top 30 immediately for Mason Miller. DeVries, again, let's look at top 100. Yeah. Behind Connor Griffin and Chase Burns, DeVries is the 3rd prospect in all of baseball. He's now in the AL West. He's a shortstop. He's 18 years old, so it's going to take some time. But as far as impacting the Halos and who is going to be competing against them over the next couple of years, well, the 3rd prospect in all of baseball is now in the AL West. Mason Miller is out of the AL West. Kind of makes you wonder, man, if Ben Joyce was healthy, would he have been on the table at this point? So yeah, Danny makes a good point. They just drafted Jamie Arnold as well, so he's a stud. Very, very interesting. We got Perry Manassian actually speaking. Oh boy.
I'm scared already.
Sam Blum tweeting what Perry Manassian saying. We're obviously really competitive. I wanted to keep this group together.
No.
Your reaction says it all.
Just like the word obviously in that, like, come on, dude. Like, even like, I get it. You have to, when you don't sell, you have to be such an advocate for what this team can do. But just like slap in the face. It's a slap in the face. It's disrespectful to this fan base to use words like obviously. Nothing about this team is obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Don't gaslight us. This is funny. Wait, where'd it go? Angels were so not worth discussing. John and Gavin needed to fill with every other team. No. I had this planned before we came on because I want everyone to know who's going to be in the AL West. And if you're not interested in that, that's fine. I just think that that's worth discussing because we need to know what we're up against. And it shows that everybody got really good, especially in the AL West.
Yes.
And the Angels did not improve.
Again,
we obviously are not going to do well until Artie actually says, Amen. Well said, Casper.
That's the only obvious thing in this fan base, right? But yeah, again, just going off that again, it shows we are a passionate fan base. Yes, we love the guys we have on our team. And yes, we know we would love to see this team win. But you look at fan bases like the A's, that they traded one of those guys, right? Like, never saying we would ever trade a Zach Neto or a Hoppy or anything like that. But they traded essentially one of those guys in their organization.
Yeah.
And their fan base, I'm pretty sure, is almost universally thrilled with the move. Because the direction makes sense. And that infield is going to be so scary in 2 years, in 3 years, right? This fan base, this Angels fan base that is so passionate, that has Angels in the outfield, in right field last night. I'm not saying ever trade a Zach Neto or anything like that. But if you traded a Taylor Ward, I think we would be okay with it. I think it would sting a little bit, but we'd say this makes sense. We're doing things that make sense. And so the teams in our division, whether it's teams going out and making huge cannonball acquisitions like a Suarez, like I'm sure we'll get to a little bit more, or selling, either way, they all made sense. Yeah. We're the only team that didn't make sense in the division. We really are.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Larry, saying enjoying listening to us. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Larry.
And killer commentary. I love killer commentary. So again, like you mentioned, they trade Mason Miller. He wasn't going to help this version of the A's team, right? Because by the time the A's are, getting to where they need to be, Miller might be hurt. He might be at the end of arbitration or what have you. We got another tweet here from Sam Blum. He said, Perry Manassian said it was really important for the group to play meaningful games in August. And so what have I been saying, Gavin? Whether we like it or not, they have to play meaningful games. And then when asked if he thinks that could include October, Perry said, I don't make predictions.
You can't say that when the quote before is, we're obviously really competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, dude.
Wow. I just want to sit with that for a little bit.
Again, the microphone is up here, and the amount of times that I've just sat back, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit here.
That's fantastic. All right, moving on. We obviously have to deal with Houston. Here's the thing about Houston. They got off to the rough start that they always do at the beginning of the year, and they always find a way back. They always pull guys out of the ground like weeds, right? And they're like, oh, do you want to pitch today? Great. Give us 7 shutout innings, right? They always do that. So they've been without Jeremy Pena. They've been without Yordan Alvarez. They just recently have been without Isaac Paredes. He's probably going to be out until the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been trying to keep their head above the water. They had hit a little bit of a skid. They got swept by the A's. They lost the first game to the Nationals. So it was like a 5-game skid, right? Now, they bring back Carlos Correa, as we discussed, who I think is going to get doubly booed from here on out, right? The fact that you put the uniform back on.
Yeah.
Jesus Sanchez was definitely a trade candidate from the Marlins. He's an outfielder, swings a good bat.
Yeah.
And then Ramon Urias, he's okay. I don't think he's quite Isaac Paredes,
right?
But he is going to be a competent third baseman over there. So that's something to keep in mind. Basically, for Houston, they're going to be just fine. I don't think anything that they've done is going to change anything other than they replace their hurting players with healthy players, right?
Yeah.
And they'll certainly get guys like Jeremy Pena back and whatnot. So,
yeah. It's interesting though. I will say it's interesting because I've seen reports today that Correa is going to play third base. So then it's interesting why you make 2 moves in a similar spot. But again, when you have a good farm system, when you do things like get rid of a Kyle Tucker, you have the luxury to then have added depth, right?
It's like the Braves with, they lost Acuna in the World Series here and they got 4 outfielders to recreate him. Right. And so that's what they had to do. All right. Texas gets Danny Colomé from the Twins. They get Merrill Kelly as a starting pitcher. That's a good move for them because they needed some starting pitching. Merrill Kelly has had a great year. Where did Zach Gallen end up, by the way? Did he look him up? Did they trade him? They had to trade him.
That's true, but I don't remember seeing anything for him.
Let's see.
Weird deadline because there's moves you don't expect, and then there's ones that seem like surefire things, and I don't remember that trade happening either. I'm looking, and I don't see it either. So
yeah, I see. He's a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
It's just because he's not had a great year. The talks kind of cooled off on him. Okay, that's surprising. I thought he would have definitely been part of that. But anyway, back to the Texas Rangers. They get Merrill Kelly, Danny Colomé, and Phil Maton. So certainly helping out that pitching staff,
right?
Which is something that they actually needed to be doing. So that's what we've got to deal with in the Texas Rangers. Finally, the Mariners. Oh, the bane of my existence. They win the trade deadline. They get Eugenio Suarez. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to look up Eugenio because I'm not petty. Yeah, yes. Exactly.
Get the Mariners stats with him, right?
Let's see. He had the 2 years with the Mariners. 236 batting average, 232, 791 OPS in 2022, 714 OPS in 2023. And this year, an 897 OPS. Now, he was playing above league average for the Mariners, a 129 OPS plus, a 103 OPS plus in 2023. I think we need to look at the splits here, my friend. Let's see, 2022 home and away. Let's see. Oh, well, they're not that different, but 233 at home, 239 away. So it just wasn't good in 2022. 2023 splits. Let's see. Eugenio Suarez, 2023 at home, 232, 233. So again, just wasn't having a good season, I guess. I thought maybe it was the T-Mobile Park impact on Suarez, but let's see. What about his stats at T-Mobile Park? I think that would be significant. Got to scroll all the way down Baseball Reference. No, not opponent. Ballparks. Here we go. T-Mobile Park. Ooh, a career 229 hitter at T-Mobile Park with a 760 OPS. Good luck. That's all I got to say.
Oh, petty. I love it.
I love it. I don't care. I hate the Mariners. But again, he's part of this. He's part of this AL West now. Caleb Ferguson, good bullpen arm. And then, of course, earlier in the week, end of last week, they got Josh Naylor. Who,
good trade, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, like, the Mariners have always had good pitching, and they've always needed good offense. But then all of a sudden, they got good offense to start the year. So all that say, and Aaron Wren says, feel the hate, John. Let it flow through you. Yeah. Let your anger guide you.
But even us, like we hate it, and yet we know, like, as much as we want to hate it, like, it's a great deadline. It's a great deadline.
Oh,
like, like, they don't even need Suarez to be what he has been this season for it to be a good move, because guess what? They've got 3-4 guys in that lineup that are already succeeding, right? So, yeah, it's a good deadline. And you hate to say it, but it is. Roman says, pray for the Angels. Oh, always pray for those darn Angels. We need it.
My buddy texted me and said, did we trade for another squid for Oswald Peraza?
Hey, but Newman's gone. Hey.
Squid was actually good at defense, though. That's the difference. Like, as much as I hated him being in the lineup thinking he was Barry Bonds, at least he was actually good at shortstop, right?
Yeah. Obviously really competitive. That's going to bother me for like the next week.
Obviously, we're going to the World Series, Gavin, but I'm not going to predict that. But obviously, we're really competitive. Obviously, we know what we're doing. Yeah. State-run media, my friend. It's like listening to Russian television.
Yeah. Yep, it really is. Obviously, that word, just it's crazy how one word is going to piss me off so much.
Looking through some of the comments here, man, you guys are fantastic. We had like almost 500 people in here.
Yeah.
At one point, I've missed so many comments.
They're hilarious too.
Yeah.
And we need it. God, oh God, we need the comedy. We need the laughs when the team, it's a Radio Moscow is when Marty is calling it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Akura Man said, look at how the Angels beat the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, Phillies, Padres 2-3, from the Rangers split with the Mariners, heads up with the Mets. They're close. I hear what you're saying, man, but that's the thing is, like, they are able to compete, but they are so streaky about it, where you can sweep the Dodgers and you can roll right through the Red Sox, but then you come home and you lose 2 or 3 to the Marlins, who weren't that great at the time, and then you can beat up on the A's all season long and take the season series, right? And you could do that, but then the next night you can lose horribly to the White Sox or the Diamondbacks, right? And so it's just it's been inconsistent, and so yes, for as much fun as it is to see them beat up on really good teams, and then beat up teams like the A's, you don't know what you're going to get. What do you always say, Gavin? A coin flip? Like, it's a coin flip, right?
No matter what, that's the problem. No matter the opponent, right? Yeah, like you're saying, and that's, again, I'm not gonna rant about Taylor Ward again. I promise I'm not going to. But again, that's why, like, a move like that would have made sense, because the whole team is the same. Like you say on every other show, we got enough slug. We got enough slug. We can slug our way to games that we should not win. Right. Or series that we should not win or sweep. Right. But we can also do the exact reverse. And that's why this upcoming series, man, I'm terrified. I never thought I would be so afraid of a series against the White Sox, but the team does not sell. And now it just feels like you have to win, right? Every single game, right? You have to, right? If you lose this series after your GM says you're obviously really competitive, it's just going to add to the frustration, right?
Yeah.
So terrifying 6-game homestand coming up, or continuing, that is, with the White Sox and a Rays team that both bought and sold at this deadline. So
hey, Mike's here. Mike, get in here. Come join us. The people want to see you. He said, here's what Mike had to say. Fellas, not doing anything puts a lot of pressure on the young dudes. They keep talking about how they are tight and want to win. Now it has to be more than talk. Show me the walk, boys. Mike, get yourself in here, brother.
You want to show the walk? Just watch Mike Trout when he hits, man, because that's what he's looking for.
No kidding.
The walk every time. But he's right, though. He's right. Like, and that's what I was saying on yesterday's postcast. Like, it sounds like maybe I was over exaggerating. And again, it's hard on that show to not like be super animated, right? But when you combine a move yesterday that it is a buy, right? There's no other way to put it. Sure, it's a very minor buy, but it is an acquisition. You combine that with all the hype in right field. And it felt like there was a decent amount of pressure last night to win that game, to complete a sweep, to justify making a buy move yesterday. And he's super right now in that. Guess what you've done? You've just added more pressure to win. And a team that already is asking guys to go above what we should expect from. And that's why I'm always like, I'm critical of the bullpen. I'm critical when a guy like, Zephyr John struggles. But at the same time, like, we're asking guys that have not proven they are successful in the bigs to be successful. Yeah. Like, we're asking for more from this team than we should be asking for them. And guess what? He's exactly right. Guess what we're doing now? We're asking of that even more.
And there comes a time where you have to ask them to step up, right? And I think that they've done that very, very well. And, Logan O'Hoppe obviously trying to make adjustments at the plate, behind the dish. Joe Adell certainly looks much better this year, a lot more patient at the plate, right? You've asked these guys to step up, do things better. At the same time, it's really come down to, you got to put the pieces in place to help them out. And like you said, you're asking them to do a lot. And so, they have stepped up. I fully believe in the guys on this team. Don't get me wrong. Like, I wouldn't disparage them. I think it's on ownership to put something good around them. We got a tweet here from Jeff Fletcher, OC Register, short version of what Manassian just said.
Oh, I'm scared.
He didn't think what they were being offered for their players exceeded the value in maintaining a competitive roster, allowing the young players to experience meaningful games in August and September. I thought that was going to be a problem. I thought that what you're going to get back for Tyler Anderson doesn't outweigh the value of trying to make these games matter in August and September. And look, I don't disagree with the fact these games are meaningful now. Yeah. They mean something. They actually have to win these games now, because if you don't, well, you're just going to look like a fool, right? But the fact is keeping the pieces that you have versus trading them away. I knew the returns would have to be significant in order for them to move. Otherwise, they were going to stand pat and try to go for it. And that is basically, David said, that is more palatable than we are obviously competitive, right?
It makes sense. It makes sense. But even in that, like, notice how you said Tyler Anderson, because that's a great example of like, oh God, this team barely has 4 starters. Imagine if we got rid of one more, we would fall off a cliff. We would lose 2 out of every 5 games guaranteed.
Right.
So that's a great example of, if you're thinking about a guy like that, Perry, what he said is right. But when you think about other guys, right, and at least in my opinion, there were guys you could move for something that wouldn't completely sink the ship in terms of this team being what it already is, which is a coin flip team in most games, right? And so that's where it would have been tough to trade a Ward, a Kenley Jansen, guys like that. But I think there is a legitimate argument that you can still get rid of those guys and maybe not get this groundbreaking offer for them.
Yeah.
But also still not sink the ship if they were not on this team for the next couple of months.
And that's the problem, is that they need bodies, right? They need bodies in the rotation. And they don't want to bring up Caden Dana and George Clausen because they're not ready. And I respect that. And so if it means that you got to keep your Kyle Hendrickses and your Tyler Andersons, that's fine with me. And look, you weren't going to get a big return for Anderson or Hendricks anyway. So
Yeah,
I get it. Like the gamble here is, do we want somebody? Mike's here. Let's go. Michael, save us, my friend.
I leave the show up to you and Gavin. And this is what you bring me. You bring me Oswaldo Peraza, whatever his name is.
Oswald Peraza. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. No, I just, as you guys were talking, I was thinking through, you just read Jeff Fletcher's tweet.
Yeah.
And what Perry said. John, Gavin, let's go back a year. That's exactly what Perry said last year.
Yep.
After the trade deadline. I just didn't get enough to be
right.
Man, like at least turn the page on the narrative, homie, because that right there was it's not a great look, bro. Like, and looking at what other teams got for like the closers and other things tells me that if you weren't getting value for those guys in Europe, shooting for the moon. Yep. Right? You were shooting for beyond the moon. And that's what's just so frustrating about this.
He's so angry we're losing him.
They could have done so much. They could have done so much with this roster, with this team. And listen, if they're competitive and they sniff the third wild card spot and maybe even get in, I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to be insufferable because I'm an Angel fan and I love it. The thing that's just so frustrating is that the three of us and our everydayers, we know that that's just not going to be the case. Yeah. And John and I, you and I did a show last year to start the year where we talked about.
Sorry, you cut out there for a second. And Israel said, "You're on that Angel Stadium Wi-Fi." Oh, he cut out again. He is on that Angel Stadium Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think I still probably on Angel's Wi-Fi. It's cutting in and out here. I think because I got really set up fast here, but
you're good. You're good.
Like the truth is that we did a show at the beginning of last year before the season started. And you know, it's Detmers and Sandoval and all of those guys. And it was when Sandoval was named the opening day starter last year. And you and I did a whole show, John, you remember, where we talked about like, here's what they've done on average. And the Angels are asking this team to not just do what they do on average, but we're asking them to play above their heads. And I love the young core that we have.
Yeah.
But now, without any additions, we're asking this team to play above their heads. If you thought people are going to be frustrated with Nolan Shonowell's quote unquote lack of power, that's going to be just exemplified over the next couple of months, right? Like, oh man, he didn't come through, and that we needed a home run, right? Like, and then Trout's lack of runners in scoring position clutchness, that's going to be exemplified over the next couple of months because they didn't add anybody to this roster. They didn't add any offense. They didn't add any pitching. They're going to run with just these same guys. And that's why I had to jump on and just affirm what you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like you said, like needing a Shonwell or a Trout to exceed. But don't forget that in the seventh inning, we have to ask like a Sam Bachman to do something he hasn't done consistently. We have to ask a Zephyr. We have to, I mean, like Reed Detmers was pitching out of his mind in this new role. And what did it get us? It got us still a couple games below 500. So he's coming back down to earth, right? Like we're having Joe Adell getting all-star snub calls, right? And we're still below 500. So just imagine if these guys regress. Taylor Ward having weeks that we've never seen from him, and yet still we're below 500. So yeah, you're right. It's scary. And again, these 6 games, you've got 6 winnable games at home. But guess what? Like the same way going 4-3 the last 7 didn't feel good enough. Going 4-2 in these next 6 isn't going to feel good enough.
No.
Yeah.
And that's still arguably exceeding what this team should do.
Because that won't even put them over 500, right?
Yeah.
If they go 4-2, it won't even. And then what? 8 and 5 on the homestand. That was something that you could celebrate in April, in May.
Right. Yeah.
But you can't go 4-2. You have to go 5-1 or 6-0.
Yeah.
To
not
really,
to mention,
like, you need momentum, man.
Yeah. Not to mention that while you're doing that, the Mariners just added 2 bats, right?
Yeah.
The Rangers just added like 8 arms, right? So these teams are going to expect 4-2 in their 6-game sets, expect maybe 5-1. And it's more logical that that's going to happen because they went and made those big moves.
Absolutely. Hey, Sam Blum, he said one of the reasons the Angels
Oh,
didn't
no.
make moves at the trade deadline, good vibes. And here's Perry Manassian's full quote.
No.
To play the kind of baseball we play, to experience the environment and what it's like pregame, the emotion postgame after some of those wins and even after some of those losses, it's great for our young players to go through. I know you can't quantify it, but anybody that's been in that locker room for a significant period of time, our group is pretty solid. And it's getting better by the day. It's a tight-knit group. Tightest knit group I've been around since I've been here. Given that group a chance to play this thing out over the last 2 months relative to what was presented made a lot of sense. Mike, it's the conversation about makeup that we were having about prospects and the kind of guys that they bring in, but applied to the spirit of the team, I guess you could say, right?
There's an idea that is in business that's called organizational empathy, right? It helps you to not be siloed so that you're not working on your own and you're isolated. However, organizational empathy works when you are doing your job in your silo. And what I heard from Perry Manassian was, dude, all these guys really love each other. We even close out with a song at the end of the night, right? But that doesn't mean that the song's good, and it doesn't mean that who's playing the song is good and who's singing the song is good. And that's the problem, is that fans see like, man, I get that they're tight, and I love that they're tight, and I love that they have good vibes, and that's fantastic. A part of the reason, fellas, why they're tight is because they're not 10 to 15 games under 500. They're only 3 games under 500, and they have been competitive against really good teams. So it is fun to be on this team when it hasn't been fun to be on this team in years past. That's fantastic. But it was Perry's job to go and figure out how you're going to add to it. If they're so tight, great. If that's what you're going to run with, great. If the philosophy and the vision is that they said at the beginning of the year that we are going to go and try to get to the playoffs, great. Then as much as we want them to perform on the field, we needed Perry Manassian to go and get a Geno Suarez. We needed Perry Manassian to go and get a frontline starter, Dylan Cease, right? We needed something like that. And even if it meant that we had to give up some big pieces, at least we did something. We leaned in a certain direction and ran after it. And we didn't. That's what today is so frustrating. Hearing these quotes makes me go, yeah, dude, you've been saying that all year long, right?
Yeah. That's the thing is like this, Manassian's answering like, why didn't you sell? And it's like, well, yeah, we like this tight knit group, but then why didn't you buy? Like you should have bought something. You should have we were just talking about what we talked about this morning, Mike. The Angels don't cannonball. Everybody else cannonballed into the pool, but the Angels do not. Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, one more tweet too. That's very interesting. Sam Blum just tweeted, how much of a role did Artie Moreno play in establishing this trade deadline strategy? And Perry Manassian says, I mean, obviously I talked to ownership, no doubt about that. I think every team talks to ownership. You talk about things, baseball operations, ownership. That doesn't even make sense. At the end of the day, we felt like this was the best way to go. To me, being competitive in August, yeah, it's kind of the same stuff. It's very important. Playing meaningful games in August is very important. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that's the same quote that you read 20 minutes ago or just being retweeted, or if he's just saying the same things over and over again.
He's saying the same thing over.
Because there's nothing else to say. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you even just go back to that last one that we just read, think about what he really just said. He said, hey, when we win games, we smile. Like, that's basically what he said. It's like, no duh. Like, it's not even like when we lose games, we have this belief that we're still going to be playing in October. He literally said, man, seeing this team celebrate when we win is fun, right? The emotion post game after some of those wins.
Yeah.
There isn't a team in any level of any sport ever that doesn't celebrate when you win.
Right.
Like, what are we talking about?
Talking about basic human emotion? Good for you guys.
What are we talking about?
John, I love this one from Scott Wilson. He said, Super Halo Bros, close your ears. We need winning streaks, not winning series. And that's been something that I've said. But Scott, you're absolutely right. It's now time to have a winning streak. It really is time to have a winning streak. And I know that was it Akira that said, I'm officially bummed out. Sorry. But the truth is that what we're talking about is we would love this team to be really great. Yeah. The problem is that they just didn't add to the muscle that they already have.
Right.
And I want to see Trout, and I want to see Sean Noel and Ohapi, and I want to see Neto get some help. They need some extra help because these guys they're really on their own right now.
Yeah.
Think about we still sorry, real quick. We still don't have a fifth starter, guys. We still don't have a fifth starter. Like you're really competitive, but you literally don't have 5 starting pitchers.
No, Gavin, they brought up Kohanowitz. He's back.
Well, look, we have gone past the trade deadline as we said that we would. So just to recap, they got Chafin, they got García, and they brought in Oswald Peraza, who I don't know if you saw it, Mike, but basically it's going to be our Rengifo for the next 4 years because that's the years of control they have.
Yeah.
Was a top prospect at one point, hasn't panned out in New York. So a very Angels move.
The tweet that I saw was, I don't know if you shared it before, but Perry Manassian said he is a classic change of scenery guy. Okay. So they're hoping that just a new town and a new experience with all the good vibes, everyth's going to change for him.
It'll be Mickey Moniak then.
God bless him. Hopefully that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Like if he ends up being great, that would be great. But that's high hopes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
GM's using hopium. We love it. We love it. Not logic. Not logic.
Yeah,
we're the ones that are supposed to use hopium. The fans.
He's just like us, guys. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. We really want to thank you for being here for this deadline edition. Trade deadline edition of Locked On Angels. Of course, we'll have a short version for you on the audio side and the video side Friday morning. So if you want a quick recap, we'll get into that. But thank you to the nearly 500 of you that were here. We're down to 352, just 352. Shout out to all of you because you guys are fantastic. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. When we come back on Monday, of course, we've got Gavin over the weekend. Working for the weekend, working on the weekend with the postcast after each and every Angels game. They play the White Sox this weekend. Then on Monday, Mike and I will be here with the takeaways. Are any of these guys that they've traded for going to make an impact? Are these meaningful games now that they've kind of forced that on themselves? Meaningful games? We're going to talk about it all on Monday. Don't forget to join Gavin on the postcast after each and every game live on the YouTube channel and then in the audio feed shortly thereafter. Mike, Gavin, any final words? Yep.
That sums it up perfectly. Oh my goodness. I'll leave with this. Yes, I'll be doing the postcast. I'm going to try somehow to not talk about the trade deadline after these games and talk about the games themselves. But you already know that if we lose 2 of the 3 against the White Sox this weekend, maybe even if you just lose 1 of the 3,
right,
it's going to make today hurt even more. And
Gavin crash out this weekend. I'm tuning in just for that.
I can't wait.
Crash out Carlson, coin flip Carlson, all of it. You're going to get all of it because I'm sure every game will be a nail biter. I'm sure Luis Garcia is going to come in with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th, and he's going to make or break the ball game. You already know. Yeah. You already know. So
it's why it's the best. It's why it's the best postcast in the biz.
In the biz, baby.
You never know what you're going to get, but it's going to be awesome.
Amen.
Oh, there goes. Thanks, man. He said, honestly, you guys made this deadline 10 times better than going through it alone. Yeah, we're here for you, and that's why we like to do what we like to do. All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. Friday. Oh, wow, it's not even the weekend. Friday's tomorrow. Oh my goodness. I'm all kind of mixed up. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And we will see you back here after the games, of course, on the YouTube channel. And Mike and I will see you back here on Monday.